What's up guys, it's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Betrayed and Became a God, Part 9. Let's try to hit 400 to 500 likes, and if you guys want to know exactly when I upload my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Seriously, a special thank you to my balance breakers, Rob the King, Jorge Alvarez, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Kozakil Toltec Sun God, Madly Wolf 333, Daybreak, VR Wolf hashtag 2347, Sinrar Q, Jordan Patchow, Mazaku, and Dr_Emeralds_MLG is the bomb, and Asimodus. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker, which is the highest membership tier. I cannot thank you enough for becoming a balance breaker. Seriously. If you guys want to see what ifs on Goku or other anime in general, go subscribe to my second channel, link down in the description below, along with if you just click the channels, you can click on Follow DxD and Popowski, and those are my two other channels. Hit the sub button for those, along with follow me on other social medias. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into Part 9. Chapter 21. Back at Issei's own house, a stranger was on the doorstep as he presses the doorbell with a smirk adorning his face. Kotamine residents, how may I help you? Tamio says. I have come to see Issei, the Red Dragon Emperor. The man blatantly replies, causing the fox priestess to raise an eyebrow, but welcomes him. Follow me, Tamio says. The man proceeds to follow her with a stoic face as he finds himself in the lounge with Mordred, Sona, and Mash having a conversation. Who are you? Mordred said. He wanted to meet the Red Dragon Emperor, Tamio said. With a teasing smirk on her face, the fox priestess teases the unknown man, earning a small snicker from him. What business do you have with my king? Mordred said. Classified, the man says. The man answers almost like a machine, causing Mordred to snarl at him, causing Sona to interfere before things get worse. Don't be rude to our guests, Mao-chan, Sona said. Whatever, Mordred replied. Can I see Issei Kotamine? The man says. I'll bring him here, Mordred says. The Knight of Treachery spares the mysterious man one last glance and proceeds to the basement. That guy, he is not normal, Mordred says to herself. Shaking her thoughts aside, Mordred proceeds to the basement, only to find Issei and Invigold in a friendly spar. You've gotten a lot better at controlling your draconic order, Issei says. I'm going to hit you, big brother, Invigold says. A series of explosions follows the Leviathan descendant's threat, shaking the walls nearby. Control yourself, Invigold. This manor can't withstand the attacks of an ultimate class being, Issei says. Okay, Invigold says. Yo, Issei, a crappy dude wants to see you, Mordred says. The Knight of Treachery approaches the Red Dragon Emperor with a sly smile on her face as she delivers an unexpected kiss to her love and pulls back. Intoxicating, Issei says. Now hurry up and go kick that stranger's ass, Mordred said. Get a room, Invigold replied. Ignoring the Leviathan descendant's sly remark, Issei then proceeds to the lounge with a stoic face replacing his previous expressions. Hey, darling, that guy, he isn't a normal one, Mordred said. Fear not, my princess, for I am invincible, Issei says. Mordred rolls her eyes at her love's proclamation before elbowing him in his gut. Dragon, Drake said. Definitely a dragon's aura, Issei replied. The couple enters the lounge, where Issei spots with a mysterious man, who now has a toothy grin on his previous stoic face. Yo, Issei, you look as good as ever. I can say the same to you as well, Bova. The man now introduces Bova, spreads his four sealed obsidian wings as his appearance changes into that of a tan-skinned man in his late 20s wearing a regal dress. But the most prominent features were his golden eyes, filled with warmth and mirth. I thought you wouldn't recognize me in my disguise, Bova says. Everyone on the lounge has their eyes set on the dragon with wide eyes, but the fox priest's eyes man with a man with lust. The hell is this? Mordred said. That, my love, is Boa, third son of Tanin, famously known as Bova the Destroyer, and my associate. Issei says. Sexy, Tamio says. You all must be a member of Issei's Parage, Bova said. I did not receive any notice regarding the entry of the notorious troublemaker of the underworld, Sona said. The C3 Harris gives a blank stare to Bova with irritation present on her eyes. I am here on a top-secret business of the Dragon faction, Bova said. Is there anything wrong? Issei replies. The air of the household drastically changes from cheerful nature to seriousness. The Chaos Brigade has attacked, and nesting on the eastern sector of the Dragon faction, 15 guardian dragons were killed on our own side. A dozen of the hatchlings were killed brutally by dragon slaying magic, Bova said. Rage floods into Issei's mind, as the thought of hatchlings killed is the same as provoking the dragon faction. How dare those insolent pests attack us? This deserves death, Drake said. The booming voice of the Red Dragon Emperor echoes through the room as red aura shrouds the room, forcing everyone except Zona, Mordred, and Bova to their knees. Drake, save your anger for the ones who deserve it, Issei said. They're trying to provoke the dragons, since they are the biggest obstacle in the Chaos Brigade's way, Zona says. The dominating order of Drake disappears without a trace after a few seconds of earning a sigh for many. How could they slaughter innocent children, Mash said. The High Council has decided to assign the task of killing those bastards to my eldest brother, Bova says. The son of Tanin tells them with anger and disappointment in his voice. Stupid councilmen. They want that disgrace of a dragon to avenge the death while they could have sent you to kill them? Issei says. According to those old geezers, I'm irrational and unfit for helping them in this issue, Bova said. Issei simply sighs and proceeds to calm the sneering dragon, while the others just watch him. I argued those fools, and they decided to assign me with guarding you, and they believe that you'll be able to help me control my irritational behavior, so I want to join your barrage. Pardon? Issei says. Now, in the underworld, in a dark room, a lone voice is heard from across the room. I did what you asked me to do. The mysterious person says. Good. Another voice is heard from across the room. The light of a man is seen. Give me a snake. I'm afraid I can't. I wanted to kill every single dragon in that village, which you failed in doing so. The dragon-slaying artifact you gave me was very weak. A cold aura infiltrates the place as loud as the voice is heard. Fine, I'll give you a single snake, but use it wisely. A creepy smile makes his way towards the silhouette's face. I'll use it wisely. Soon, my pursued maiden, I'll save you from that wretched dragon that has you captive. Our business here is concluded. I'll see you later, Astaroth. Location, Co-Academy, a day later. After a long time, Issei finds himself in a classroom with Mordred next to him. As the teacher was waiting for him for something or someone, class today will be receiving a new student, the teacher says. As the teacher finishes, Invigold enters the class with a cheerful smile on her face. Hi guys, I'm Invigold Levistone. I'm from Norway. Please take care of me. The whole class erupts into cheers, but in case of the boys, many were loudly yelling praises and perverted things. Hell yeah, total babe. She's mine. Back off. Damn, she's cute as fuck. The teacher decided that he had enough of this and yells at the class to calm down. Now, if you have any questions for Miss Levistone, please ask. Do you have a boyfriend? Motohama says. Nope, Invigold replies. Every boy in the class acquires a very strange glint after hearing her answer. Are you a virgin? Akia says. The she-pervert questions Invigold with a teasing smile on her face. That's for you to find out, Invigold replies. Alright, Miss Levistone, you can sit next to Miss Kiryu, teacher says. Akia raises her hand to show that levity descended her place. Time skip. The whole class was having a gaze fixed on Tamio, who was wearing an elegant outfit with a couple of books in her hand. Students, your old history teacher has been hospitalized since he got hit by a baseball. And he has left the school, so instead of him, Miss May here will be teaching you history since it's nice to her. Hey yeah, I'm Tamio May, and your new teacher for history. I like brave young men. The whole class was a blushing mess, excluding Issei and Mordred, who were amused smiles on their face. Holy motherfucker, she's one hot piece of ass, Matsuda says. Time skip. The whole class was having their eyes fixed on Bova, who was in front of the ground wearing a skin-tight performance t-shirt. Yo, I'm Bova, your new physical instructor since your old teacher has been hospitalized after getting hit by a basketball on his head. Everyone stares at him with deadpan look as the two teachers were out of the school due to a major accident. That's a big one, 11 inches. My god, Akia says. The she-pervert faints with a nosebleed while the other girls were blushing messed. Accurate, Bova replied. Location, Gravery Manor, Co City. The sounds of explosion and mental clashing with each other is heard. Is that all you've got? Kiba says. In a training yard under the manor, the old ORC members were training and having mock battles against each other. Come at me, Zenovia said. Balance, break, Kiba says. The holy demonic sword of Kiba appears on his hand as he sprints towards the blue-haired former exorcist who raises her sword to parry with Kiba's onslaught. Lightning strike! Anakano says. A few meters away from Kiba and Zenovia, Rias and Akio are engaged in a battle in the air with firing magic attacks at each other. Stronger. I have to make them strong enough to be useful, Rias says. President, How about we try our new move? Akeno says. Okay. Holy lightning! A pure beam of divine lightning rushes towards the ceiling. Multiple Gremory glyphs appear beside the beam, as demonic aura is interjected on the beam of holy lightning, making it glow rapidly. Holy lightning of demonic destruction, Rias says. The training arena was in ruins after the powerful attack, but then the field automatically repairs itself in a minute, while Akeno and Rias are on the ground visibly exhausted. It drains a lot of magic from our reserves, Akeno says, but this attack can take down a low-tier ultimate class devil. This is our trump card along with Zenovia's Durandal and Kiba's balance breaker. A satisfied smile appears on Rias' face as she examines the other members who were training. No one gets away with stealing my Issei. This gets cut off. It would be a great help if Gasper was here. The others may believe that a Chaos Brigade terrorist infiltrated our manor and killed him for his sacred gear, which the Leviathan descendant had along with the Hyodos for their hidden Magi research, but I won't believe it. The supposed infiltrator was killed by Issei, but I doubt that it was the truth, Rias says. Location, 8 Circle of Hell, Magladon. The screams of countless souls, each writhing the screaming in agony, was heard while it missed them, and Ketria Leviathan was tied up in a cage screaming. No! Stop it! It hurts! It hurts! Ketria says. Shh! The pain will stop if you tell me about your plans. Think about it if you were experiencing this for 3 weeks, and yet none of your allies have tried to save you. Face it, Ketria, you are just a pawn who has no value to them, but I promise you, I'll free you from here if you tell me everything you know, Seraphal says. In a sticky, sweet tone, the current Leviathan interrogates the old Satan descendant. I'll tell you, please, just make this pain stop, Ketria said. Then tell me, Seraphal replies. Shalba and Courtesy are leading the members. Orphis is the leader of the Chaos Brigade. She helps us by giving us part of her powers, and there are several spies inside the Devil faction. A group of rogue Magi led by Tamaki Totsuka. The Madman Magi was ally, but he betrayed us, Ketria said. The Leviathan descendant's reply comes as a crooked whisper indicating that she was not in good state. How did you get your hands on the Balor View? Seraphal said. Orphis gave it to me. I don't know how she got it. That's all I know, Ketria said. Ketria desperately pleads to Seraphal, who has a smile on her face. Your help is much appreciated, but I'm afraid I have no choice but to kill you, Seraphal said. The moment those words left her lips, huge ice sword was embedded into Ketria's chest as she dies instantly. Location, 6th Heaven. In Resonance of the Archangels, a meeting was held between them. Brothers and sisters, is there any developments on heaven? Michael says. Brother Michael, the rebuilding process in first heaven is complete. Hearing this, Michael looks pleased, but another voice is heard. Brother, we have found an interesting development on the elusive hunter of the Red Plains. Please tell me about it, Uriel, Michael says. The angel, now known as Uriel, summons a bunch of papers earning a side for Michael. When the hunter of the Red Plains assaulted the first heaven, we have found a faint trace of magical energy, and a brief examination of my men have found a trace of draconic aura, but the most intriguing thing is that the detectors on the 4th heaven have detected an awfully similar energy on the forest of the city Billard, and the underworld at the same time the young devil gathering, but the energy was lacking its draconic aura. The energy match is 84.34% with our samples. The whole room becomes unnaturally silent after hearing the Archangel's unreal discovery. The devils? They are dared to help a monster and betray our treaty? Raphael, calm down. Wrath is a deadly sin. A heavenly voice is heard across the chamber as a woman with blonde hair and killer curves that would kill a mortal was seen seated next to Uro. She has a point, Raphael. We have faced a great loss, but revenge is not what we want, Michael says. Fine, Raphael says. As the meeting was going on, a 6-winged angel burst into the room with a terrified expression, startling the archangels. Lord Michael, an intense holy aura has shrouded the 7th heaven. Hearing this, all our angels find their body trembling in the worst fear. I'll inspect it myself, Michael says. Time skip. Inside a huge castle, Michael was seated on the throne radiating intense holy order. A holographic screen appears displaying various descriptions in an unknown language. Eden is fine. Belief system is operating. Defense system fine. 3rd heaven is stable, Michael says. Michael desperately searches for the cause of this phenomenon, but then sacred gear locating transport systems are unstable, Michael said. Warning, access denied. A mechanical voice is heard from the throne as burning sensation invades the leader of the angels. That voice, Lazarus. I haven't heard that voice since the Great War when God was in charge of the throne. Auto self-correction program activated. Searching for the error. Multiple errors detected. Error detected in sacred gear location and transplant system. Scanning the subcategories. Error found in Longinus section. Trying to locate all Longinus losers. Error found in locating the boosted gear. Error. Third-party interference. Rebooting system. Reboot successful. Systems operations online. Sacred gear location and transplant system stable and active. Boosted gear is hereby removed from the sacred gear system and all suppression seals on the boosted gear removed. The number of Longinus has been reduced to 12. The system returns back to normal, while Michael's terrified expression which contradicts to his gentle belief. What in the name of the Almighty Lord? Michael says. Codamine Residence Co-Academy. At the same time the system of God was malfunctioning, Issei was in his personal library reading a couple of books, but then suddenly, "Something's wrong with the gear," Drake said. "Huh?" Issei said. Suddenly, Issei feels a burning sensation, which soon turns into a painful sensation as Issei groans in pain. "The sacred gear is getting out of control. It's not stable," Drake said. "Ugh! What the fuck is happening? My body feels like it's on fire," Issei says. Issei internally screams and tries to get up, walks towards the exit without normal breathing. "Issei, the gear is trying to obliterate your soul. I'll pull you inside the sacred gear," Drake said. Issei then faints and falls on the ground with his sacred gear manifested, but unlike before, it was in a horrible state, and the green gems losing their brilliance. Location inside the boosted gear. Inside the boosted gear, Issei finds himself in front of the mighty red dragon of domination, Drake. Flames were all over the place as multiple Red Dragon Emperors were in their balance breaker fighting Drake. "It's good to see you, partner," Drake said. "Hey, Drake, what's going on?" The mighty 70-meter dragon drowns the past host in the sea of endless flames with a smug grin on his face. "Looks like the boosted gear was unable to evolve to suit your powers due to the suppression seals on the gear, and your power partially broke the seal, causing the sacred gear system to become unstable, and the system has identified you as a third party, trying to tamper with the gear. It has just now launched several offensive measures to subdue me and kill you." Drake calmly explains the current situation to Issei as he stomps out a couple of past hosts. "The sacred gear system can influence the inner gear mechanics," Issei said. "The God of the Bible was not a fool. He knew the dangers of imprisoning multiple beings more powerful than him, and he designed the gears in the system with multiple safety measures. If a third party tries to tamper with the gear, and it seems like you have just now broke a part of the suppression seal." "There's a suppression seal on you?" Issei says. With barely hidden shock, Issei questions the dragon who unleashes a torrent of fire that blasts from the... "Indeed. Most of my abilities are sealed by that old fool. The only ability the users, if the boosted gear can access, is Boost, and the only 3 exceptional users were able to use my other ability, Transfer. And there are still a couple of abilities sealed which none knows." Drake says, "The Juggernaut drive must release all the limiters on you, right? You truly are clueless about the gear, partner. The Forbidden Drive is mistaken by many of all the limitations are released, but it is nothing but a lie. The drive releases a quarter of my limiters. Why do you think the drive gives the Dragon King class power while I am a heavenly dragon?" While Drake finishes his speech about the gear, a red beam of draconic energy hits Issei in his face. "Use it, the Juggernaut drive, and reduce the white one to cinders," the past host says. "Yes, do it," past host replies. Issei summons a bow and releases a dozen of arrows, and the past host who disappear into thin air, while a moment of arrows touch him. Why are the old hosts attacking us? The system has full control of the past hosts and is the one that's using them to attack us, Drake said. Drake lets out a battle cry and charges towards a dozen of past hosts, kills them effortlessly. But then, how amusing to think that a host has managed to overwhelm the suppression seals on Drake. A voice is heard when across the surroundings area causes Drake to sigh. "What are you doing here?" "The best white dragon emperor," Drake said. A man probably in his theories reveal himself as he effortlessly crushes the past host of the boosted gear. "The brat managed to absorb my soul while he merged a jewel of Albion in the boosted gear." "Why are you here?" Issei says. "Just giving you a helping hand. I just wanted to end the rivalry of the twin sky dragons and bring back the glory of the holy heavenly dragons." The man along with Issei and Drake continued to massacre the old hosts for a couple of hours. Time skip, a couple of hours later inside the gear. Issei and the man are seated on the ground after killing every single past host. You're quite powerful, brat, but I must warn you, the current White Dragon Emperor has highest potential out of all the past White Dragon Emperors. In a couple of months, he will have access to the power stronger than the drive. I can feel it. Make my dream a reality, will you, Issei? I will do whatever I can. I will still fight against him the next time we meet, Issei says. Hearing Issei's reply, the man lets out a huge laughter. Ha! All the dragon emperors of the past have become part dragon. It is our blood to fight. The man lets out a final chuckle before disappearing into thin air, causing Issei to sigh. The system. It has cut all connections with the gear. It has, as if it's given up on retrieving the gear, I think, Drake says. A pulse of overwhelming energy flows through the red dragon as he stops his speech, with his eyes widening in shock. We have succeeded, haven't we? Issei says. Fuck yes. At last, I have been freed from my shackles. The system has relieved the suppression seals. My powers are like, it's back to my prime. The boosted gear is free from its clutches. Partner, we have attained a new power today. With this, we shall burn our enemies to the ground. Location, Konaco residence, Co-Academy, a few hours later. Issei and his Parage were on the couch watching a live relay of the first match of the Young Devil Rating Games tournament, which was between Sour Org and Zephador. The guy with green hair is acting like a wimp, Bova said. Yeah, Mordred replied. Issei said. While the others were busy commenting about the battle, Issei was having his gaze fixed on Sour Org, who was demolishing a couple of rooks of Zephador. Is something wrong? Sona says. You're not going to faint like what you did a couple of hours ago, are you? Mordred replied. Both of the girls look at him with concern, for his health evident in their eyes, making Issei smile at the pleasant feeling of bliss knowing that there was someone worried for him. I am fine. I was thinking about certain things, Issei said. Hell yeah, kick his ass, Bova said. Issei nearly fell off the couch due to the delinquent dragon's loud yell. Noticing this, Mordred flashes a malicious glare at Bova, who was slightly unnerved by the glare. Bova-san, do you want me to weaken you with my sacred gear and hand you over to Tamio? Invigold said. I'd like that. Oh, the number of things we could do together, Tamio said. The newest rook of Issei lets out a nervous laugh at the menacing smile plastered on the fox priestess's sexy face. This woman is crazy, Bova said. Looks like Tamio took an interest on him, Issei said. A loud explosion is heard from the television, which shows Sarawak destroying the problem child of Glacia clan without breaking a sweat. I want to fight him to the death, Bova says. This man is Tanin's son? Marsh says. You can't kill him, Bova. He is the heir of Biolan clan, and a promising young devil. Besides, we have to focus on wiping the floor with Rias, Issei says. The Gremory girl is no more than a weak training dummy for us, Bova said. The delinquent dragon puffs his chest in pride while Issei's expression changes into a serious tone. I think we should increase our daily trading regimen, Issei says. Oh, I almost forgot that I have a meeting with my Parage. See you later, Mr. Serial Killer of Ko, and good night to you all, Sona says. The Citri Harris leaves the apartment by magic circle, with a vicious grin on her face, leaving a stupefied Issei and Mordred. She knows? But how? I set up a random exorcist nobody even avoided going on assassination missions, yet she still figured it out? Now I regret killing that vampire hybrid, but hey, I reduced the red-haired bitch's Parage power, and got my hands on an extremely rare sacred gear. Although it did cause me some trouble, it certainly will be useful. The girl finally figured it out, but seeing how she loves you, she won't inform this to anyone, Drake said. Third heaven, a couple of hours later past midnight, is where we're at right now. In my whole life, never once did the system disconnect with a sacred gear, Michael said. The voice of the leader of heaven was grim as he held his gaze fixed at the serenely night sky filled with the stars. The boosted gear. The present of the Dragon of Domination has broken. I wondered what happened to the Red Dragon Emperor, Michael said. The Archangel feels a melodic smile on his face as memories of the distance patches into his mind. The world is changing. We angels must adapt to the changes if we not perish, Father. What would you have done and moved if you were in my place? You'd probably laugh at the problems and give me a reassuring smile saying that everything would be all right, Michael says to himself. Michael's voice turns a bit melodic at the end as a few drops of tears come seen from his eyes. I swear, Father, I will do whatever I can to save the humans and angels while propagating your eternal love. Time skip, 4 days later, Konaco residence, Co-Academy. It was a typical morning in the Konaco residence, with Invigold and Mash having a long conversation. The Fox Priestess and Sona having girls talk, but unexpectedly the Archangel Michael was seated on a chair and having a talk with Issei. The system was acting strange for a moment, but then it severed its connections with the boosted gear. I don't know why it did, but Drake must know something about this. I was shackled for thousands of years by your god. It's natural that my prison will be broken in time, Drake said. The Dragon of Domination gives the Archangel a rather rude response, which causes the Archangel to sigh. The Longinus and Balance Breaker itself was a bug in the system, so it may have happened naturally, Issei said. This is the first time a sacred gear has been severed from the system, and nobody wants uncontrollable Red Dragon Emperor. Has Drake ever tried to take your body? Michael said. The leader of heaven interrogates Issei with a sharp look in his eyes, causing Issei to give him an emotionless stare, but underneath his stare was uncontrollable rage and wrath at the thought of his partner and friend betraying him. I am fine. My partner will do no such things, Issei said. Then my business here is concluded, and this piece of information must remain a secret from everyone, including the other faction leaders in your barrage, Michael said. Michael disappears in a flash of light, with a smile on his angelic face. Today is the day. The battle with the Gremory bitch commends. Beware, Rias. I shall humiliate you in front of every single devil. The Red Dragon Emperor sets his gaze at the bustling city with an unusual determination in his eyes. Location? Unknown. Once again in a familiar place, a silhouette of a figure is seen. Interesting, truly interesting. This is the moment from which the future is unpredictable, with numerous possibilities. I wonder, Vessel, will you succeed in the future or lose everything you have and become a broken soul? A deep primal voice is heard from the figure, which seems to be familiar. You are standing on the threshold of limits of destiny. There are two prominent possibilities. In one you shall succeed, your life become true. Watcher. The surrounding space distorts into an image of Issei wearing a red scarf, but the most surprising thing was his eyes, which were filled with conviction. In the other one, you shall fail. Lose everything you had except for a wretched landscape of infinite swords and undergo an eternity of pain, becoming a broken soul, hell-bent on salvation, which you shall never find. The space again morphs into a blurry image, a man on his knees, amidst the countless swords embedded on a desolate landscape. A storm is approaching, a big one, the mysterious figure says. And that is the end of Chapter 21. Chapter 22. Location, Kodamine Residence, Co Academy. It was a peaceful night for the citizens of Ko, but inside the Kodamine residence, the atmosphere was serious. Today is the day I will humiliate you and break your ambitions and dreams, I promise you, Gremory, Issei says to himself. I'm ready, Mordred says to herself. The melodic voice of the Knight of Treachery is heard as she moves towards Issei. You look great on that dress, Princess. Aw, you're making me blush, Mordred said. A small pink hue is seen on her adorable face, causing Issei to smirk. Are the others ready? Issei says. Yes, they are, Mordred replies. Issei, you've suppressed your bloodlust and that crazy side of you, but how much longer do you think you can do it? Drake said. Issei completely ignores the Welsh dragon's questioning, but then the sound of the clock striking 12 is heard as a teleportation circle appears below them. It's time, Issei says. Capital Castle, Lucifid, the Underworld, is the location we're in as of right now. Scene break. The Crimson Satan was with his queen on a room filled with numerous devils working on something with a smile on his face while the ultimate queen was in her usual stoic mood. Are the preparations complete? Sir Zek says. Lord Lucifer, the preparations for broadcasting the rating game is complete, Devil One says. A rather old-looking devil answers to the Devil King, who is trembling with anticipation. Good. I want every devil, may it be a commoner or a noble, to be able to witness this game, Sir Zek says. It looks like the game is to begin, Gravia replies. Gremory Mansion, Coast City. Inside a European-styled building, the members of Rias' Parage were on the lounge. The preparations are complete, Akino says. Good. I want everyone to give their best in this game, Rias says. Yes, everyone replies at the same time. The whole group yells together, earning a smile from Rias. Konaco, you remember our technique I've planned for you, Rias said. Yes, Rias-sama, Konaco replies. The white-haired lily replies to her master in a usual stoic tone. This time, we will defeat every single one of those opponents, and we'll rescue our Rias gets cut off again. Hello, Azia says. In a couple of hours, Issei, I'll save you, Rias says in her head. Dark, sinister thought make her way towards Rias, who barely restrains herself from letting out an insane grin. Why do I feel like this game is going to go terribly wrong, and Rias will be behind it? I don't wish to die at the hands of a psychopath yandere, Kiba says to herself. To himself. The devil swordsman shudders at the thought of Issei threatening a couple of students who were eyeing Mordred in a lustful way. It's time for me to save you, Rias says again. Location, unknown, underworld. Inside a small tent, sounds of moaning and screaming in pleasure is heard, and soon the voice of a familiar Nekomata is heard. Don't stop! Or are you at the limit? Oh, fuck. This was unexpected. But then another voice is heard. Never provoke a sleeping dragon, Volley says. Soon the sounds of moaning and grunting, blah blah blah, you get the point. I'm not even going to try to fucking read that. Never mind. I've been hearing those sounds for the past 72 hours, Byuko said. Letting out a sigh, the descendant of the sun Wukong sets out his sight on a glimpse which was displaying an underworld news channel. I want to see how a dragon pounds his opponent, Byuko says. Nope, Kuroko's saying some crazy shit again. After a minute of uncompromising silence, Byuko shakes his head furiously with the one thought in his mind. I take that back. I don't want to win a dragon that's banging, Byuko says. The poor bastard goes back on watching a glimpse with a sweat drop. Location, pocket dimension, replica of Koka Academy. In a flash of light, Issei and his Parage members were teleported to a luxurious room in Koka Academy. Which place is this? Bova says. Welcome to the second match on the Young Devil Tournament. I, Gravia Lufage, Queen of Lord Lucifer, will be the overseer of this game between Lady Gremory and Lord Issei Kodamai. The booming voice of Gravia is heard across the whole dimension, earning the interest of everyone. The base of operations of Lord Konami is the principal office in the main building of Koka Academy, and Lady Rias' base is the Occult Research Club. The usage of lethal holy weapons and dragon-slaying weapons are prohibited. Pawns can be promoted in the enemy territory, and usage of familiars are allowed. Good luck, Graphius says. Looks like we're in the principal's office. It's time to devise a plan, Issei says. Location, RC Club Office, replica of Koka Academy. The proud members of Rias were in the next Rias, waiting for their king's orders. The opponents must have started plotting their move. It's time we devise a strategy. Our base of operations are the Occult Research Club. There are obviously three obvious ways for them to attack, which is by crossing the playground, crossing through the gym, and by air. But the third is unlikely, Rias says. The Crimson Princess of Ruin for once decides to use her brain to formulate a strategy. Then, the gym is a position holding the high ground, as it is near the main building in the Occult Research Club, Akeno says. Correct. Issei will most likely send a rook or a pawn, another piece of moderate value, so we will send Kiba and Akeno there. Principal's office, replica of Koka Academy. At the same time Rias was plotting her plan, Issei was also doing the same. The gym building is one of the most critical areas. That may be a good use for us. Knowing Rias, she'll send either one of her knights, rook, or her queen. So we will send Tamio and Mash. Mash, I want you to focus on defending Tamio, and Tamio wreak havoc, but don't kill them. Issei says. Sure, leave it to me, Tamio replies. ORC Club, Rap Club, Koka Academy. The atmosphere around the room was tense as Rias was deep in her thoughts. Asa, you are our only support for our group, and the enemy will most likely take her out. So you'll stay here with me and Akeno. If you ever feel like losing your holy lightning, and if you can't win, withdraw and make it here for Asya to heal you, Rias says. Yes, President, Akeno replies. The fallen devil hybrid bows in respect, but a small twitch in her lips are seen. Zenovia and Konaco, you'll be our offensive team, as you will both try to infiltrate their base by crossing through the playground, and you will find the opponents there and engage them, but at all costs protect Konaco, while also attacking the opponents, even if you are forced to use the Durandal, Rias says. Principal's office, replica to Koka Academy. So back with Issei. Our next priority is to ruthlessly strike down the members of the Rias' Parage, and her bishop Ozzy will be a pain, so I will personally eliminate her, as she will most likely be with Rias in the ORC. After taking care of the healer, I will engage in a duel with Rias, but before that, every single member of her Parage must be eliminated. Everyone pays close attention to Issei with the utmost seriousness. Before that, Invigold, I want you to use your sacred gear and strengthen everyone while guarding this place while Mordred. I want you and Bova to lead offense in the playground. That's it. Now go and win. With that, Issei disappears into the shadows with a smirk on his face while the other equip their battle gears. ORC Club Office, replica of Koka Academy. Back with Rias. There's no time to spare. Let's win back our Issei. With that, everyone leave to the base except for Rias and Asya, who are on their guard with this raiding game has begun. Soon, my Issei, Rias thought in her head. An uneven grin emitting a malicious feeling was the current expression of the Crimson Princess of Ruin. How low has one prideful Rias Grimmery heiress of the Grimmery clan has fallen? Location, capital, castle, Lucifer, the underworld. Inside a huge room, many devils along with Sir Zex and Azazel dressed in regal style dresses were paying close attention to a huge screen displaying the rating game. I'm curious to witness my sister's utter humiliation at the hands of Issei, Sir Zex says. Don't you think that's a bad idea for both of them to fight each other, Azazel says. The first angel to fall was having a serious look, contradicting to his cheerful personality. Issei has no desire for revenge nor vengeance. He has long forgotten the past, and he wishes to be left alone. So I doubt that anything serious will happen, and Rias was getting way too prideful and arrogant. This will certainly destroy her pride, Sir Zex says. The Crimson Satan explains his motives behind the raiding game, but he had no idea of his sister's obsession with Issei, which he will find out soon. However, I can't get rid of the uneasiness, Azazel says. Lord Lucifer, it looks like the game has officially begun, Grafia says. Location, ORC Club office. Rias was focusing on several glimpses next to her, displaying various places next to the replica of Co-Academy. Akino, this is Rias. Can you hear me? The voice of Rias is heard through a communication device, which each ORC member has. I can hear your voice, President. Good. Are you in position? I'm on the way, Akino says. In a split second, one of the glimpses displaying the locations becomes blurry, and soon all the glimpses become blurred. All the familiars of Rias Grimmery eliminated, Grafia says. The voice of the Ultimate Queen is heard across the dimension as Rias gains a shocked look. Replica of Co-Academy. Above a huge building, the sole rook of Issei was holding a bat-like creature as it disappears in a faint blue light. That was easy, Bova says. Gym building, replica of Co-Academy. Sounds like a metal clashing against metal is heard across the field as Mash blocks a strike from Kiba, who is wielding a nameless demonic sword. I am Kiba Yuto, Knight of Rias Grimmery. I don't care, Tamio says. Multiple black-colored tentacles sprout out of nowhere and rush towards Kiba, who prepares to dodge, but Kiba prepares a sword blade to defend himself, but a huge lightning blocks the attack, giving time to Kiba for escape. My, who might you be? Akino says. Not bad, little crow, Tamio replies. With a huge smirk on her face, Akino summons multiple lightning bolts and fires them towards Tamio, but Mash redirects the attack towards Kiba with her shield, forcing Kiba to block it. Shit, Kiba says. While Kiba was busy blocking the lightning bolts, Mash sprints towards Kiba and radiates to slam her shield on him, but due to his instincts, the blonde knight manages to block it with his sword, and the sword breaks upon impact. Demonic lightning flash fire, Akino says. A huge Grimmery glyph appears midair, and Akino fires a huge lightning strike at Mash, causing a small explosion. Akino flies above the building's now ruined ceiling, while Kiba dashes backward and summons a bunch of swords, which covers him. This was exceptionally powerful attack for a low-tier high class, but, Tamio says, Akino suddenly falls back with a stunned look on her face at the sight of Tamio and Mash perfectly fine, but then, black flash of the wicked, Tamio says. Multiple runic text appear next to the fortress as the black mist hits Akino and Kiba, causing them to cough up blood. That spell is my favorite. Reverts contaminates your magical reserves, causing them to shut down, which means you can't use any magic for an hour, but unfortunately your sacred gear remains unstable, Tamio says. This is bad. Balance break. Sword of betrayer. The Priestess of Thunder helplessly watches as Kiba tries to turn the tides by activating his balance breaker. Location, athletics track replica of Co-Academy. Konaco was in a tense situation as she found Bova in his human form staring at her with a smirk. Nekomata. If memory serves me correct, Nekomatas are extinct, hunted by devils, and yet a half-devil Nekomata is in front of me. Amusing. Dragon, Konaco says. With that, Konaco rushes towards Bova with his fighting stance ready to strike, but the dragon pays no attention to her and simply catches her attack. Weak. Use your abilities, kitty, Bova said. This mischievous dragon then does something incredible. He punches Konaco in her gut, sending her flying at speeds that a naked eye can't perceive. There's no way she can stand that attack, even though I just use a small fragment of my power, Bova said. A couple of 100 meters near Bova, the armored Mordred was clashing with the blue head exorcist. You guys are weak as fuck, Mordred said. The Knight of Treachery ruthlessly slashes at Zenovia, who was forced to defend her attacks using Excalibur destruction. This is bad. I'm just second-rate compared to her, Zenovia said. Pathetic. To think that the fabled Excalibur being reduced to such a state. It taints my mother's glory, so I shall destroy it. In one swift motion, Mordred uses her monstrous strength and slashes at the Excalibur fragment with all her might, causing it to crack. She managed to crack Excalibur Destruction? I have no choice but to use my trump card, Zenovia said. An intense holy aura surges from the former exorcist's body, pushing back a slightly intrigued Mordred. The sword chose me, my final trump card, Durandal, the Pierceless Sword. A regal-looking long sword manifests her hand, radiating an intense holy aura around it, which scorches the surrounding rocks. Things just got a lot more interesting, Mordred said. While Mordred was busy admiring the Pierceless of Asura, a white blur approaches them. Bova did his job well. The Knight of Treachery grabs the flying Konaco and slams to the ground, creating a crater. Queen of Rias Grimory, retired, Grafia said. The voice of Grafia is heard earning a smirk from Mordred. Gym building, replica of Code Academy. The blonde Devil Knight was panting heavily as he restlessly blocks the magical onslaughts from Tamio and physical attacks from Mash. I can't keep this up much longer, Kiba said. Be grateful that Issei didn't want us to go all out on you guys, Tamio said. I'm just a mid-tier high class at best with my balance breaker. I can't land a scratch on them. By their aura, their ultimate class and power, Kiba said. While Kiba was distracted, Tamio closes the distance with Kiba and fires a spell at Kiba, who manages to dodge it at the last instant. The spell misses Kiba and instant blows up a large building nearby. That was close, Kiba said. Look above, dear, Tamio said. The mischievous fortress flashes him a teasing smile, and soon a huge chunk of building was flying towards Kiba, who tries to dodge it, but then a dozen of yellowish chains appear from the ground and restrain his movements. Fuck, Kiba said. Bye, Tamio replied. The huge chunk of the building crashes onto the Devil Swordsman, who lets out a groan in pain before disappearing in a flash. Knight of Rias Grimory, retired, Grafia said. Cuckoo, he was a fine young man. Let's make sure Invigold is safe, Tamio says. Athletics track, replica of Code Academy. Scene break. The surroundings were a wreck, with cracks and craters all over the ground, but amidst the ruins, two knights were facing off against each other. Good. Your style and reflexes are good, almost as good as an expert. But, Mordred said, in an instant, Mordred seemingly disappears and reappears next to Zenovia and ruthlessly delivers a few strikes from her sword, facing the former exorcist to block them. Why? Your strength, speed, and almost everything is above mine, yet you are toying with me. Tell me, am I not good enough for you? Zenovia says. I want to test the Pierceless Sword to its full extent. That's all I aim to, Mordred says. Without wasting a single second, both the holy sword users continue with their clash swords with inhuman speeds. A true splendid clash indeed. Almost for a second, both of them were on par with each other, but soon Mordred overwhelms the blue-haired devil. After the destruction of Camelot, I have visited a lot of places and I heard a lot of legends about the Pierceless Sword, even among the supernatural, but to find that it's the weak, pathetic. You weren't worth this sword, of being Greshiel's adopted child. Perhaps even the dead god of Bible would have been ashamed of you. The Knight of Treachery taunts the devil with a mocking grin, causing the blue-haired devil to grit her teeth in frustration. Looks like it's working. This brat has potential to enter ultimate class and power and become a master swordsman, Mordred says. Is that an insult towards me or my sword? Bastard child of King Arthur, Zenovia says. Amidst the clash of swords, the wielder of Durandal questions Mordred with a blank stare, earning a frown from the Knight of Treachery. But the thoughts of Zenovia was, did she just berate Durandal? How dare she so bluntly throw insults at the miracle for which I bled for? My whole life training and hardships are worthless for her, Zenovia says. For a brief moment, the former exorcist's eyes turned to avoid emotions, which is an unserving sight even for veteran fighters. It was the look of something pushed beyond her limit, a pure look of unadulterated fury. I suppose that you're... Shut up, Zenovia says. A huge aura bursts from the blue-haired devil, throwing Mordred by 100 meters back while the ground breaks into smaller pieces. The aura gains attention of Bova nearby, who tenses a bit, but Mordred raises her hand, signaling him to stay out of this, but the white-haired Nekomata, on the other hand, was terrified. Zenovia? Konaco said. Child of King Knight, think twice before you speak, Zenovia says. A foreign voice is heard what comes out of her lips, which Mordred responded by moving her helmet and looking into her eye with a small smirk. Durandal, Mordred said. Indeed. I have indeed taken control of this wielder for a short period of time to teach you a lesson, child of Atora, Zenovia says. Even if you take control of her body, there is a limit to her body, Mordred said. It will suffice. I cannot tolerate someone tarnishing my glory, but I must admit, this host is good one just behind Vasco surrounded in terms of potential, Zenovia says. The possessed Zenovia raises her sword in a stance that radiates power. Let's see what you've got, Mordred says. Go forth, bring me utter victory, peerless sword. Durandal, unleash. The peerless sword glows brightly, almost as if responding to her words. Seeing this, Bova turns her skin into scales while Konaco runs away for her dear life. With a mighty swing of her sword, a golden beam of intense divine energy surges towards Mordred, who is staring at the beam with wide eyes and nostalgia, as she recalls a memory etched into her very being. The sword promised victory, unleashing its radiance. Excalibur, mother, it's just like Excalibur, Mordred says. Clarent Blood Arthur, Mordred says. An unnatural dense red beam of pure energy surrounds Clarent, but surprisingly the beam was twice as big as the original one. The peerless sword met the radiant, brilliant royal sword. The divine destruction met the manifestation of demonic hatred, of a child with twisted feelings towards its parent. The red beam effortlessly cut through the golden beam of Durandal and hit Zenovia in point-blank range, causing a huge explosion. The whole dimension trembles under the explosion. After a few minutes, the smoke dissipates, revealing Mordred with part of her armor damaged, while Zenovia was on her knees with a broken arm and numerous 3rd and 4th degree burns and cuts along the reflection. I lost, Zenovia says. That wasn't half bad, Mordred replied. Aye, your hatred for King Arthur is stronger than my expectations. That attack of yours was on par with a high-tier Satan class. This body is not in ashes only due to sheer luck. Before the possessed Zenovia can completely finish, she appears in blue light. Rias Gremory's knight, retired, Grafia says. While Grafia's voice is heard, Bova appears next to Mordred with a grin on her face. That was cool, Bova said. Now, location, ORC club office. The sister of Lucifer was staring at the glimpse nearby with a frustrated sigh, while Ozia was next to her. To think that Akino got eliminated before we could use our combo. How unfortunate, Rias said. Knight of Rias, Gremory, retired, Grafia says. Hearing this, the ultimate queen's declaration, Rias closed her eyes and concentrates to find out which one was eliminated. Kiba, Rias says. President, is Kiba's son? Yes, he must have been outnumbered. The blonde ex-nun glances and finds the shadow behind her move, freaking her out. Rias? Ozia says, what? Rias says, the shadow behind me moved. Ozia says, Rias' eyes widen at Ozia's proclamation. Before any of them could act, the deep voice of Drake is heard. Welch Dragon, balance breaker, Drake says. A choking sound was soon heard, causing Rias to turn her attention towards the healer, who was on her knees at the dominating figure of the red dragon, and before her was fist in her gut. It's nice to see you, Ozia, Issei says. Issei's son, Rias says. Shut up! You don't deserve to utter my name, treacherous filth, Issei says. Tears were seen on the blonde healer's eyes as she cries at her former friend's remark. Rias, shut the fuck up, bitch. Who gave you permission to talk to me? Issei said. The immense hatred and bloodlust emitted by Issei was enough to scare both devils, or so he thought. Not now. I need an opening to execute my plan. Now, be a dear little girl and willing to retire yourself from the game, Ozia. I can't put, Ozia said. Ozia abruptly stops as she looks down to only find out that Issei has mercilessly delivered a roundhouse kick, causing her to fall to her knees. Boost! ×4, Drake says. Ozia, I always thought of you as a friend who I could trust with my life. I went as far as taking a light spear to my lungs, on my 2 knees just to save you. I never expected you to do this to me. My whole life was a lie. My parents are fake. My friends are fake. I just wanted to be loved, but thanks to you guys I got strong. Strong enough to challenge gods. I always wanted to do this for a long time, so Issei appears next to Ozia in a second and grabs her head and slams it into the ground, breaking the floor, causing Ozia to instantly disappear. You're next, Issei says. Issei, just hear me out. Rias says. Both the dragon and Rias avert their attention to a massive aura flare at the level top tier ultimate class. That aura. It is not identical of any others, Issei says. Partner, if I am correct, that was the raw aura of Durandal, but the current wielder cannot use it in her state. It looks like the sword took control of the wielder, Drake says. I'm sorry for this music in the background. This fucking idiot's just playing music around me. I gotta finish this video, so I'm just gonna continue. But then an awfully familiar aura was also felt, but strangely it was a lot stronger than before. Clarence Blood Arthur, I have never felt this strong. It is due to her change as a dragon, Issei says. That was, Rias replied. Fuck off, motherfucker, Issei says. Knight of Rias Gremory, retired, Grafia says. Hearing the strongest queen's announcements makes Issei sigh in relief, but then, take this, Rias says. The Grafia glyph appears and from the fabled power of destruction rushes towards Issei. Issei calmly summons a red sphere and shoots the power of destruction as both of them cancels each other. A terrific ability to destroy a molecular level, but you do not possess any skills to use it. Disgrace of a Gremory, Issei says. Oh, Issei, I know that blonde bimbo is the one messing with your mind. I'll prove you my love and save you. Issei visibly pales at the sickeningly sweet tone of Rias. Boost times 9. You've gone insane, Issei says. Only for you, Rias replies. Konaco, execute our plan the moment I tell you. Unknown to Issei, Rias telepathically communicates with Konaco using the transmitter. Get lost, bitch, Issei says. Now, Konaco, both of you, it's time. Before Issei could engage in a duel with Rias, two silhouettes appear between them, causing Issei to jaw drop. Matsuda and Monahama, what are you doing here? Issei says. Do your job well, pawns. Activate Castling. The moment Issei drops his guard, Rias uses Castling and disappears in a blue light in her place with a terrified Konaco. Issei just sits there in silence. Sorry, buddy, but I can't let you pass through us. Rias-sama has promised that she will take our virginity if we help her. Oh, I can't wait, Matsuda says. Innovate clear, miniature garden of green tree of innovation, Monahama says. The world around Issei disappears to Issei find himself on a grassy plain with Matsuda and Monahama next to them. Innovate clear, a high tier Longinus. Be cautious, partner. This is a sacred gear that can create a pocket dimension, create any type of monster within the pocket dimension, Drake said. The balance breaker is not bad. I had to sacrifice my arms to use this, but Rias gave me another arm made of demonic power, Monahama said. You can't stop me, Issei says. I can't stop you, but we can stop you, Issei, Monahama says. A bright light surrounds Matsuda, causing Drake to groan in irritation. Freezing a priority, a rare sacred gear, Drake says. Location, athletics track. After a long duel, the Knight of Treachery was in the middle of a crater with an exhausted sigh on her face, as the trembling Konaco was in front of her. Bova was in the sky watching this mess. If you want to leave this game, I won't stop you, Mordred said. Konaco replied. Stealing her nerves, Konaco rushes towards Mordred, who lets out a sigh in annoyance. Fool, Mordred says. When Konaco was a few meters away, Mordred, a bluish light engulfs the Necromana. In a split second, Rias was on the place where Konaco was as she charges towards Mordred, who was caught off guard due to her exhausted state. Die, bitch, Rias says. Rias then summons the strongest dragon-slaying sword and then proceeds to stab Mordred, who narrowly dodges the strike to her heart, but the sword was impaled to her left lung, causing her to cough up blood while Bova was rushing towards Rias with angry snarl. Baby! That's what you get for trying to take what's mine, Rias said. You crazy bitch, Bova said. Rias has noticed that the delinquent would have a dragon flying back towards them and drops Mordred with the sword embedded on her lungs and backs off. Damn, you're crazy, Mordred says. Bova lands next to the injured Mordred and kneels down and inspects the stab wound. No, stay awake, look at me. If you close your eyes, you'll die, Bova said. The whole audience at the Capitol were speechless at the fight possessed by Zenovia and Mordred. This was unexpected. Gravia, retire Rias' knight immediately, Zerzek said. On it, Lord Lucifer. What in the name of Satan? How could a devil wield such holy aura? Even ultimate class devils won't be able to escape that attack alive, Lorganus says. A few devil nobles elders scream at the sight before causing Zerzek to sigh. Calm down, gentlemen, Zerzek says. This is really interesting, Azazel replies. The screen shifts to the Issei brutally eliminating Asia. That'll hurt, Azazel said. Bishop of Rias Gremory, retired. Time skip. After a few minutes, everyone at the castle, including Zerzek and Grafia, stare at the screen displaying Monahama activated his sacred gear, and soon the screen goes blurry. What the fuck is this? Azazel says. Innovate clear is the hands of my sister and freezing. As Zerzek says, this will cause an uproar within the devil faction as well as the other pantheons, Grafia said. The screen shifts to Mordred, who was impaled by Ascalon in her lungs by Rias, who had informed casting to transfer to play. What the fuck? Grafia, teleport them out of there now, Zerzek says. Lord Lucifer, the balance breaker of Innovate Clear is interfering with our teleportation system. That sword is Ascalon. She will die if we don't do anything, Azazel says. Zerzek grits his teeth and summons Gremory Glyph and tries to teleport, which fails. Get Ajuka here now, Zerzek says. Cut the feed, our citizens are watching this, Circum says. The oldest devil alive manually cuts off the feed with the enraged look on his face. Location, pocket dimension, clearly innovated. The sounds of huge explosions were all over the air due to the Red Dragon Emperor destroying Council's monsters while keep respawning. Rias told us everything, Hyodo. How dare you betray us and find a girlfriend for yourself, you bastard. Fuck off, Motohama. I am not the same partner you knew. A beam of ice hits Issei, freezing his arms. The beam was a giant 15 Elsar breaking Matsuda. Rias-sama also promised to hand over your blonde bitch to us after we defeat you. We are going to have a lot of fun breaking that bitch into a mindless slut, Matsuda says. Issei lets out a loud roar and soon a green orb in his hands, spewing a huge thread of fire, the bird eyes destroying it. The monsters is also reduced to cinders by the devastating attack, making Matsuda tremble at the attack, but Motohama was maintaining his composure, perhaps due to his arrogance of wielding an Innovent Clear. Pathetic! You guys are just mid-class in power, except the fucker with Innovent Clear is a high-tier, high-class, at best with his limited-time balance breaker. You are fucked, Issei says. Instantly, Issei stops his speech and averts his gaze to the ground. The balance breaker activates. Mordred, Issei says. Inside the boosted gear, the Welsh dragon was having his mouth agape with disbelief, shock present in his Gerotic features. Mordred, Dragon Slayer magic? I can feel Dragon Slayer magic, Issei says. The connection between us due to this piece. It's almost undetectable. This means my Mordred is fatally injured. Rias performed castling with Konaco, and I think Konaco is fighting. Mordred, Rias, that bitch, no! The Welsh dragon checked on his partner's state. He found nothing, not a shred of emotion or concise. It's as if his partner just shut down. Drake tried to enter his mindskip but forcefully rejected. That's not good, partner. Can you hear me? Drake said. She took my saving grace from me, Drake. It is wrong that I want to kill her. Issei says, Ha! I am really a fool. She doesn't deserve death. What she deserves is pain, Issei says. My thinking was wrong until now. I finally understand. Whispers those words, causing a chill go down their spine. Those golden eyes, devoid of any emotion, really did scare the perverted Duro. Release restraint 2. Reality marble. Total release, Issei says. That perverted duo knew they were fucked by the look on Issei's face. Location unknown. The night of treachery, Groggly's eyes open and finds herself inside a majestic tower surrounded by endless field of flower petals. On the flower petal, there was a person who Mordred never expected to see. It was a blonde woman with eyes experienced warrior and the aura of a king. The woman flashes a small sad smile at Mordred before, It's been 700 years, my child. It's amusing to finally see you, Mordred. Mother, Mordred says, and that is the end of chapter 22. That is where we're going to stop for now, right at the end of chapter 22, and we will pick up on chapter 23 later. Thank you guys. This chapter is getting really intense. We only have 2 more chapters after this, so the next part will be the final part. And this was part 9. Thank you guys so much for the support. If you guys want to see what-ups on more things on my other channels, go ahead and subscribe to Fallen DXD and Ampalpowski down in the description below, along with if you just scroll over to channels and you can click sub on that. Let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes on this video. Thank you so much for the support. Seriously, I can't thank you enough. Thank you again so much to my balance breakers. Like, seriously, a special thank you to the boys. Like, I cannot thank you enough. Hold on, let me just, like, I'm trying to open this up, but it seems to be the Google document will not. Alright, so thank you guys so much for the support. A special thank you to my balance breakers, Rob the King, Jorge Alvarez, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Quasical Toltec Sun God, Badly Wolf 333, Daybreak, VR Wolf hashtag 2347, Sinmar Q, Jordan Pachow, Mazaku, Dr. _MLG_ is the bomb, and Asamotas. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. I can't thank you enough. What if Naruto obviously dropped earlier today or earlier 2 days ago? This video is being recorded because I will be on a little bit of a trip, on a hiatus for as you will, but you won't really notice because I'll have this upload schedule. So this is the second to final part. The final part will be next time. Thank you guys so much for the support. Without further ado, Spartanic Arts DXD out.